हेलो प्रदुम जी। हेलो संदीप।
रबीर जी गुड।
हाय। एक्चुअली हमारा वो वेबिनार का ड्यू था जब उसके लिए। तो जरूरी था कि बहुत जल्दी में हम उसको करें। संदीप आपका हो गया? ओके ओके हो पा रहा है? मैंने
अभी आवाज आ रही है, यस आ रही है ना
आपका
आवाज।
रेस्ट चाहिए। आप दोनों को मैंने दे दिया है परमिशन। तो
हाँ हाँ।
रेस्ट देखते हैं।
आ- आवाज आ गई ना।
सो लेट अस स्टार्ट टिल द टाइम अदर पीपल ज्वाइन। लेट अस स्टार्ट।
या एंड
ओके।
रबीर जी I'm on the road, I'm driving, so I'll mute myself. Okay.
या ओके। ओके सो आई एम स्टार्टिंग।
Yes please.
संदीप, इज माई स्क्रीन विजिबल?
हाँ दिख रहा है, विजिबल है।
ठीक है। Hi. So, hello everyone. The purpose of this presentation is uh, to know the exact action items, what is to be done by the cyber security officers to implement DPDP protection. It is not about legal gyan, but action items for us and how to maintain that. A little bit of legal thing that why we are doing that. The presentation will be crisp and action items will be clear so that it will help us to know what should we do and how to do. Okay, so myself, my name is Paramveer Singh. I am CISSP since last 15 years. I have done my DCDPO from DSCI and I'm also an LLB degree holder and currently a member of Delhi High Court Bar Association. I am also a senior consultant for a certain empaneled company, and I am also trying to establish this ISC Square Delhi NCR chapter. So this webinar is on behalf of ISC Square Delhi NCR chartering chapter. A little bit base up before telling about talking about the implementation scenario. Why do this Digital Personal Data Protection Act was brought? So if you in the earlier days, there is a story that there was a king. When he was walking around, a stone get in his foot, so he got some pain. So he asked his ministers to implement to cover the whole country through the leather. Definitely there was no so much leather to to protect that area. So some smart minister came and said, sir, why do we need to cover up all the area? We can only protect our foot. So similarly, if the data is misused, law of how can the legal enforcement cell will go door to door and person to person that we are misusing and why, and legal case to become up. So it is better to protect that data where it is stored up. So this is actually a purpose. Whereas the developed countries, developed nations were the first to implement this kind of protection. Now India is also in this line, and they have brought up this for the same context. They have brought up the Personal Data Protection Act. Now they are also charging from like the legal entities from from 50 to 250 crores in case of breach or significant negligence handling the PI or significant PI or PI data. It doesn't mean that every negligence will be fined like 50 to 50 crores. They might be given the warning and all. It doesn't mean it. So people doesn't mean to. People actually are trying to create panic to sell this consulting and all. So it doesn't mean that everybody is in the line that a human law person will be getting the fine, such a huge fine. So but understand that this is there, and some due diligence, some steps has to be taken from an entity that we can do this. So I am here to I am not here to make a fear, but I am coming as a friend of our community, our cybersecurity community, so that we can give our management a reasonable assurance that we will be doing this on a genuine cost and genuine efforts. We will not waste the resources of the company for this compliance. Now there are 16 steps to be implemented by the data fiduciaries. Here, let me explain a little bit about data fiduciary. Data fiduciary means that we a person who are collecting and using the data. For example, a company who is collecting the customer data, employees data. So they will process the data to sell, to identify the products for them, to pay their employees. So they all are these are legal, and these all companies are legal entities, and they are data fiduciaries. Similarly, if like government, they are also data fiduciaries. So these are all legal entities are called data fiduciaries. Now, what to be done by these people to take precaution against this? What the government expect? What is action items to be done? So there are 16 action items to fight with this, or to be prepared for these kind of things. So there are 16 items. So first is to prepare a data governance policy. You will find a template, and we have all worked on ISO 27001 implementation, seen ISMS policies, information security policies and all. So after having a template, we can develop ourselves the data governance policies for our company. Okay, and some items, most of the items we can do by ourselves. We don't need some external consultant to charge heavily and do for us. We can do for ourselves for our own company. So we can create a data governance policy. Then understand this one thing, that earlier what happens, there were several check items, and then say there was 200 and odd items in a contract. They say yes, I agreed, and then in which it was said that we will give your data to this, and you don't know because nobody goes to reach to 200 or 300 items in that contract, in the legal contract earlier at that time. Now when it is about using your data, you cannot be have multiple checks. It should be given the explicit, yes, I am giving my consent for this purpose. It should come on the website or wherever we are collecting data, the source, it should come in that way. And for that explicit consent, a privacy notice has to be designed. In this privacy notice, it is mentioned that how this data will be used, where it will be used, where and how it will be changed, what is and when it will be destroyed. Okay, so this is the privacy notice. There should be and this robust policy framework. Now, one thing more, we as a person, we need to know basis we say na. So for the same purpose, when we are collecting the data, definitely it can get leaked, or it can be misused. So we must understand that we need to take only that much data which is required of the private entities or the private persons. We must not take the excessive data. So for example, if we are if we a person is employee, we are collecting the data of our employee. We not need to take data which is not required for us. So definitely, if we don't have the data, we have not even taken it. So how can we lose it? So this is one control, data minimization, and the for purpose only. Now, whatever the data we have taken, there will be point number 5, implementation of data security measures. So that means whatever the data we have taken, the PI data, PII or SPI data, so it has to be under the encrypted vault. It should be under encryption. It doesn't so that this data should not be leaked. I will tell later on how to do this, but right now I am talking about steps only. Then from the sixth point is maintain data accuracy and accountability. So for example, I collected the data from one of the person of my my employee, and somehow data was entered wrong. or by some work was there and some mishappening and happened, this data was inaccurate. So the data accuracy should be maintained, checks and balances should be there, that inaccurate data should be not there. And then accountability is required, who use the personal data, when and why. This should be there in the accountability register. How it will be maintained, I will tell. It is not so difficult, I will tell how it is done. Then implement mechanism for data principal rights. I have given my data to, say, suppose a bank to open my account. It doesn't mean that they will transfer some data to another entity. So their credit card companies are calling to me, sir, please purchase a credit card or please purchase this private loan or something. If I have opened this for bank account, it should be only for bank account. So this is my it is my right. If I am closing my account, if I want to delete that information, this information should be deleted, and a mechanism should be in place to delete this data. This entity has to tell whomsoever entity keeps our data, they have to explicitly tell how to do this. So we are the data, the persons are the data, the end user, our Indian citizens are the data owners, and they are the owner of their own data. So no one can use without the consent of their private data. Uh, and then one more thing is like when the entity is very high, what is like significant data fiduciary? Earlier I tell the heading that what the data fiduciary is. So we are, when we are using the data, but when this data goes beyond 2 crores, the people of, people, 2 crore people, if go beyond 2 crores, then it is called significant data fiduciaries. So large banks, telecom companies, they are the significant data fiduciaries. Job portals, so like these people are like, like significant data fiduciaries. Now there is a compliance for cross border data transfer. So suppose I am for example, I am a large telecom company. I have a data and I have to get it processed from third party. But this third party is from our enemy country. We cannot send their data there. So there is a government regulation to it. So this is the compliance, and this data can be sent it, after, if this data is leaving our country, it has to be according to the land, law of land only. So there are some rules related to this, and we have to follow that. And like this is conduct data protection impact assessment. Again, this is for significant data fiduciaries only, not for the medium organizations, which we will be most of us are. So I'm not going there right now. Now, whatever type of data fiduciary we are, compliance audit and risk assessment has to be done. That like VAPT of that tools or something, whatever there is, we have to do this kind of thing. And again, government, we have to follow government and regulatory directives issued by Data Protection Board. So government, certain, when they say some breach happened, you have to tell this within a certain period of time. Say malware, ransomware attack happened. Now this ransomware attack might not have impacted your personal data there, but that is a different thing. But we have to inform the certain. Whereas if PII data is impacted, then we have to tell to the Data Protection Board of India. This Data Protection Board of India will be starting from 18th of February, as it declared by the government. Now we have to establish an effective data retention and deletion policy. I have collected the data on behalf of my company of about, say, 50,000 customers, and that server got crashed. I have not BCP plan for that. So that is not an effective data retention. So definitely we have to be some backup policy in place. Effective data retention is like this, and it should be encrypted also. And when this data is used, means a person, he has taken a bank loan, say for example bank loan, he has taken a bank loan for 15 years, but they paid it in 5 years. Now there is no meaning to keep this data. So they have to delete that record. the data, personal data for after that. Only the required data as per RBI mandate for 7 years, only 2-3 records which are mandatory, they can take that, but rest of the PI data they have to delete it. So, and some main thing is where the special this special sensitive personal information SPI. This is the main thing which actually attracts the more fines and regulatory attraction, penalties attraction is children's data and sensitive data of like say handicapped persons, women's, national security matters. So these data has to be taken an additional layer of security. It has to be taken care of. Again, when this company we have done everything, again we still we have to tourist human somewhere, something which is not in our control has happened, so we have to be ready for for penalties as well. So how to deal with the government authorities when a penalty is open? It doesn't mean if they ask penalty we will go and deposit that penalty. Definitely we will fight that. We have put the data in place, see the forensics, it has not been from us, right? We will fight in the court, litigation will be done, we will ask to lessening the penalties or removing the penalties, right? So we will be preparing for that. So our legal team should be also be ready for that. And also definitely 50 crore or 250 crore fine is too much. So we will be preparing purchasing insurance also for that. So these things that will be prepared. And alignment with other laws as well, like IT Act 2000 or certain like or other laws. If suppose we are dealing in Europe and all, their GDPR will be also, so we will be in alignment with those laws. We will also do that. This was a brief introduction or said about this act and all this. And now I will be coming on the main of the action items. What we need to do, right? So first thing is like data governance policy. This will be covering this 5 items mainly: privacy and compliance. We will prepare this data governance ourselves. We can do this, right? Security controls. For example, wherever we will be keeping this PI data, we will implement encryption, multi-factor authentication, and role-based access. Data retention. This we will be cover all these items in our data governance policy. Incident and vendor management. Suppose we give this our data, our employees data for salary processing to third party, whether they are using proper controls or not. So they, if in case of data breach, they are not legally responsible. Primary responsibility is us. So it is our it should be in our data governance policy how we will tackle that issue. And the training and audits is like in every security thing we have to do on a timely basis. Now it comes the here you will enjoy. Now you will enjoy. Now it is not GAN. Now it is action items for us. So like lawful and explicit consent. So whenever we are collecting the data from employees, from our customers, from our vendors, so how you will how consent will be taken? What is action item for us for this item, lawful and explicit consent? So it is to implement a privacy notice. Whenever we will be collecting personal information, right? In this privacy notice, we will mention for what purpose we are taking your private data and how we will use it, and how what will be the retention period, when we will delete it, and how can it be changed. This all will be mentioned in this privacy notice. This is a very important parameter. Whenever like somebody is applying through portal for a job, say, so the privacy notice will come up, asking for say online purchasing for internet connection, mobile connection, or whatever, like for say marketing purposes, like say Amazon or Zio platform, they are giving their personal information. So this privacy notice has to be come up prior to collection of the data. They are bound to inform that how they will be collecting and using that data. Then comes the second parts: consent of records and withdrawal mechanism. Today I gave my consent to say Amazon that okay, deliver my parcel to my this address, this is my name, this is my mobile number. Now this is all PI. Tomorrow I don't like to deal with Amazon, I want to deal with the Zio platform. I will say, please delete my data. This withdrawal mechanism should be in there in the place. It should be mentioned in the privacy notice how to withdraw consent. Okay, and now how will you maintain? Say I say change the spelling of my name, change my address, change my mobile number or phone number. So data principles has a right to change the amend the records. How will it be done? So this how it will be done, and it should be there should be a documented proof how it when it was changed, why it was changed, and this was asked by the data principal. This record should be there. You know, by audit by the government when something happens, why I have given the permission or not. So this record has to maintain. So now and withdrawal. Okay, please read my data. Okay, so how it will be done? So this will be done. Action item 1 is a deputy consent manager. So anybody in the mid manager level or having experience 2-3 years who can understand the IT, Excel sheets and all, who can handle the emails and all those things, he can be given the right of a consent manager. Okay, then there is a tool called consent management tool. So when this person gives this privacy notice and fills up the information, this information does not goes to the app directly. It goes inside the consent management tool. Consent management tool stores the PII, PI, SPI data. It stores in encrypted format, and all the other applications of the department, say for Amazon, marketing, HR, sales, finance, all these applications are collecting this data via API to consent management tool. So whenever they are taking this data from consent management tool, it automatically keeps a record there in a consent management tool. So you know that why this when and why this data was collected there. So automatically consent management maintains that Excel sheet. You can export that, and this sheet is required for the privacy audit. So this is the here two roles are very important to understand a person as a consent manager and the consent management tool, because we cannot do this on Excel sheet for so many records and applications. So consent management is a vital tool to do this. Now, privacy notice. What would be the content of the privacy notice? So this is like in the Indian context, like clear, concise privacy notice before collecting data. Purpose of data collection. What are the rights of the data principal? And what is the grievance redressal? Yeah, changing of the records, deletion of the records, or if he has some doubt, I have not given the consent, please show me the proof. So you will have to maintain that record and tell me, boss, you have given the rights on that day. These are the grievance redressal. So for grievance redressal, I can say the an action item is this can be again done by the consent manager, keeping in the loop as a DPO in the CC. But this task can be delegated in our small organizations by the consent manager. And again, in the Indian context, we have about 18 official languages. So in the many of the states, apart from Hindi and English, a regional language may be required if the state government or central government enforces so. Then we have to ensure that our purpose for the data which are collected, it should be limited. If the data is not required, we should not take it, because if we take it, definitely our responsibility increases, and also we cannot use it for other purposes. So why to take it? Why to take risk there? Data collection of the data is a risk. Only necessary data has to be taken. And we have being because IT is now big now overtaking, it is becoming like a techno legal kind of role. We are becoming, cybersecurity is what like a techno legal so role we are entering to. So we are now having the duty to make other departments understand what could be the legal repercussions, what are the risks for collecting more data, or keeping the data for more retention period or something. So we can educate, and we can take the help of our legal team, our department's legal team for this. Now, implementation of the data security measures. So this we have to have a encryption for first of thing, for the database should be encrypted where this PII data will be there, so that they cannot be taken. In some new applications where this PI data is there, they have inbuilt mechanism for pseudonymization or anonymization. So they might not use required to having the consent management tool. They themselves sometimes help, but many of the organizations do not have these advanced versions of applications currently. So when they don't have, then they are required this consent management tool to use it. Otherwise, if they have the latest versions of tools in Oracle and all, they have this feature for data anonymization and pseudonymization for this sensitive PI or something. Now, again, this we have to implement. We have to, like in the BCPDR, now we prepare the incident response, or some attack happen, we prepare incident response for that. Similarly, we have to prepare for breach response plan. What happens to first off to investigate and then inform the Data Protection Board of India. Data protection officer. Now it is on the payrolls of the corporate, but actually it works for the government. So it is his responsibility to tell that Data Protection Board. But creation of a post of DPO is not necessary for normal data fiduciary organizations. It is only for significant data fiduciary where the data is more than 2 crores. Now, suppose say for smaller organizations like we are maybe having, so we can delegate this DPO task to CISO and all, so that because costing is also a major challenge for small organizations. So we can suggest, or sub deputy CISOs or kind of lower post, we can take help for this for a DPO. So this is action item for this thing. Now, data accuracy and accountability. This is the requirement of DPDP Act. So how we will do it? So it says ensure accuracy. It says maintain audit logs. So we have already consent manager for that. He will do this task. And how he will do? After implementation of consent management tool, he will do the periodic audit that whether this tool is working fine, this records are proper, and if there is no change, and this when people are filling this data privacy consent form, and then whatever, if they are changing the consent, whether it is matching that or not. So periodic audit has to be done. So this will be the action item. Now, vendor accountability. For example, I am an HR head, and I have outsourced this employees data to a external payroll company. Now they have taken the data of my employees. So if the data leaks out, what? So first action item is to have a legal contract to protect this data with the vendor, to check whether they have this whether they have this consent management kind of tool in that place or not. If they don't have, possibility can be there that it can be integrated with your consent management tool, the third this external vendors website. So they might not have more of the data, they will using only at that time. It can be also possible. So that can be decided by the internally brainstorming. Then time to time data reconciliation audit has to be done by consent manager. What is data reconciliation? So whether the data which is in the apps which has been used, the logs of that, and the match and the data entry in the consent management tool. So whether they are same or there is some different. So time to time this data reconciliation audit is an action item for this vendor accountability. Now that part is like implement mechanism for the data principal rights. So like right to access and correction. So suppose I am an internet service provider of my society where 2000 families are residing, and I have the data of this there for the internet service providing. Now somewhere the spelling has been wrong, it has entered wrong. So they have the right to correct the spelling, because somewhere they also some this all these things are having legal repercussions also. So they also want, they have to show somewhere that my address is the same or some wherever. So in many places, so accuracy is required by them. So they have the right. It doesn't mean ki if wrong data has been entered, it will be entered. No, they have the right to change it. And one more thing, suppose I'm old age guy and I am going to die. So who will be managing my data? For example, I have trained AI tool. How I do think? How do I think? This AI tool has got full my replica. So whether I want that to be alive or it should be deleted, so I can appoint a nominee for that. So this gives the rights of my private data. Now but as an cyber security professional, as at our level, we are senior guys. So what how we will be operating is this: we can delegate this task to consent manager. And how we will do? Again through consent management tool. Again grievance redressal, same thing, is again we can delegate this task to consent manager. Okay. Now, for the significant data fiduciaries, uh, where the requirement is for 2 crores and more data, then the DPO, full-time DPO is required. So he has, has to comply with full complete DPDP Act. He will be act as a contact for grievance and regulatory communication. He will be the first contact. He might delegate this task later to the consent manager, but he will be the primary contact for the outsiders and handling the grievances. And he is the person to monitor security and compliance measures related with the data privacy. But this is for only data which is where the data is more than of 2 crore people. Now it comes compliance for cross data transfers. So it can be data fiduciaries can transfer data only to those countries which is approved by the central government. They cannot transfer that data to the countries which are not approved. It will be a havoc. It cannot be done. And that too, if data is transferring to the countries which we have some treaty for data sharing, it should be, with binding legal agreements. For example, if we are sharing the data with our Europe entity will follow our DPDP Act standard, and we here this entity will follow their GDPR. If we have those standards, we will follow their GDPR standard. So that this will be an agreement in that way. So legal agreement has to be here. We will take the help of our legal team for creating these legal agreements. I can also give you a sample of legal agreements if you require. I have some templates. Then conduct data protection impact assessment. It is for the large that thing. Only for the significant data fiduciaries. Just a minute. Have all been joined? On hold. Okay. So this is required only for significant data fiduciaries. And how it will be done? So first of all, we have to document why DPI is required. Then what data processing activities we are doing. We have to document this while doing this impact assessment. And then what are the risks and impact if while using this data when for this larger thing, and what are the risk mitigation measures, for example cryptography, VPN challenge while transferring the data. And then this DPO has to review and approve this impact assessment thing. Yes, it is fine. If there are some controls are required, he will do it, but then this is for a very large segment, okay, for more than 2 crores. Then it comes regular compliance audit and risk assessment. This we have to do. So annual audits conduct period audits to assess compliance. Third party risk assessments ensure that vendor and partners comply with DPDP requirements. So action item, this DPO or consent manager has to do this data reconciliation internally and externally with the third party vendors. Okay, we can create a checklist based audit, and what has to be made out. So this is the action item for us for internal audits. So to showcase in case of something that we are doing regular and we are doing our due diligence for this. Then again, now we might be knowing what this DPDP Act is, but many of the trained persons who are high-tech engineers, HR professionals, architects, engineers, they say what we have to do with this. But then this something at least broadly they need to know, understand what are the privacy law. They don't need to understand in detail, but they must understand that a lacuna or a negligence can create a havoc to the organization. So they must at least understand that it is not required that some technical step to be taken by them, but at least they should be aware, and so they understand where they have to comply. Then we have to, as an organization, we have to adhere with the government and regulatory directives issued by the Data Protection Board of India. Government is like certain, say SEBI, RBI, everybody has this compliances. So whatever this any other compliances come up, central government guidelines come up, so we have to implement those. We have to those further controls we have to implement, and we have to respond when data protection board send any notice to us, and we have to cooperate it. However, it is yet to be formed. The probable date is 18 February. It may linger on, but this doesn't mean, because when we implement, it takes time. We need some PDCA cycles to get it mature. It doesn't mean that we will implement and it will start it working as we desired. So let data protection board come up, but let us be ready so that we can face the practical thing in the market. So we will be ready for this thing, and we will be mature enough. And then this comes establish an effective data retention and deletion policy. So we have to define retention period for this is actually it has to be understood from legal perspective. Some data is required for 7 years or 8 years, or some data maybe for 2 years, and all the data is not required. For example, HR while boarding, he may require the full Aadhaar number, but once the employee is confirmed, whole Aadhaar number is not required. Only last 4 digits are enough. So as soon as this verification is being done, they can hide, they can remove these other numbers. So and also when the employees goes out, leaves out, the data, for example, companies collect passport, driving license, all those data do collects for various reasons. But when employees leave out, except from Aadhaar because of UN number and PAN card for the income tax reasons, they have to keep this 7 years. So other records passport or something, they have to delete it. So they have to understand which data they have to keep what, so they have to create that policy, data record policy, which record for which time. So data retention and deletion, which data to keep when and when to delete it. So this policy has to be updated. And when this policy is updated, this what is the action item? The consent manager has to work through his consent manager tool to remove this data, and because the data is inside consent management tool only, right? So he will be doing this through careful measures. Now now thing is like special precautions for children's and data and sensitive data. Children data which are below 18 years, uh, and data sensitive data, it could be like say ex-veterans, ladies, widows, war widows, they could be extra national security data. So data of police. So this kind of data may be, sensitive data related to country and children's data. They require something additional safeguards. And when it comes to the children's data, minor than 18 years, a person who is of unsound mind, so who is the guardian, so the consent has to be taken from the guardians for their data. Uh, the action item again will be by consent measure to create separate, special, yeah, the standard operating procedure for handling this kind of data. What to do? So they as separate SOPs will be created for this thing. Now comes ki you have done everything, but still something happened we are of which we are not prepared of. So first thing that administrative fines go up to 250 crores. You don't know what happened. So first thing is to inform whenever we are, we as a professional, we are required to inform our board, to email in writing that, what about the writing of this act and fines, so that they be serious about it. The fine is this much fine is to make people serious about this. So then they will implement the policy. Then legal readiness. Establish a legal team for engaged compliance consultant to handle regulatory issues. What happens? Each company has a legal team. They legal team, and also they have a contract with external legal consultants. Suppose some employee has done fraud. Suppose some client has cheated them. So they have in connection with it. So there are there are empaneled lawyers of those companies. So what happens? They in case of this thing, they fight for the company's cases for a very low cost, because they are getting the repeated business from them. So we have to make a tie-up for this legal readiness, who has good number of litigation lawyers, as well as apart from documentation lawyers, and who understand this DPDP Act. So here we can also help how to manage that thing. Then again, insurance coverage. You have to pay fine, suppose it comes up. Now 50 crore fine, that definitely it will destabilize the company. It is a 50 crore, minimum 50 crore is also a huge amount. And what to say about 250 crores? So then we have to, we can purchase some insurance with a reputed insurance agency, and which who does in this field, insurance in this field. And not to forget that to check their claims settlement ratio from this agency is good. Otherwise, maybe we will not be getting benefited. And now, not the least, we have to align with other laws as well. Integrate DPDP Act with the compliance with IT Act, 2000 IT rules, like ISO 27000 we can also implement ISO 31000, implement with other laws and standards, we can say here, like regulations, RBI, SEBI, RDI, certain, and so many. Global educations, global regulations, GDPR, CCP, and not only this, Australia Privacy Act, Africa Privacy Act, South Africa, and other countries wherever we are dealing. So we can integrate whenever, if the country, sorry, if the company is big, having multinational offices, if they are handling so much international data, then this data governance policy, information security policy, it has to be more having more wider perspective. So this is my presentation today. Any queries or suggestions, most welcome. And let me open the mic, or you can chat. So that's sorry. Uh, एक minute. So we can ask some questions here on the chat. I can answer if you want. Is a question answers? If you want, you can chat. I'm opening a mic for everyone. So anyone if anyone want to ask, they can. You can raise your hand.
हाँ, परमवीर जी आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ आ रही है. Yeah, I can hear.
It was quite well presented, and actually the most important is actionable, right? तो इसमें गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से गाइडलाइंस आएंगी, कौन सी कंपनीज आ सकती हैं इसमें, या सर्टेन इम्पैनल्ड का ही ऑडिट होगा, या विल हैव सम अदर कंपनीज हु विल बी ऑडिटिंग फॉर दीज थिंग्स?
See, guidelines nahi hai, but it is like a common sense approach kind of thing. You understand that first target is like significant data fiduciaries. So that is the reason also. First target will be the significant data fiduciaries, not the smaller companies, definitely. So that is
No,
also the reason.
my question, एक मिनट, मतलब companies who can audit other company, the certain certified, they have all rights to audit. So can they also audit for such things? That is one. And secondly, this point I think you raised it well, like who all are eligible for this. So इस
See
दोनों
the
points पे ध्यान-
valid question. So see, audit can be done by anyone. But see, if you make your child educate in school which is not recognized, so definitely in getting a credibility is bit different. So if this audit is being done by certain panel auditor, definitely it gives the credibility, right? So it is better to get the audit. If you implement, it is better if you want to take a very serious precaution, then implement 27701, which is a privacy standard. If you are very serious about this, then you can implement this PIMS and get this audited by certain impaneled auditors. So this will give the credit ki boss, we have, you can ask, you can set in the court of law ki boss, we have already done this through certain impaneled auditors. We were prepared, we have done due diligence. So when they are imposing fines, your case will be very strong to fight, and maybe it will help to deviate the fine, because more is the why we want to prevent ourselves is like to prevent those huge fines. So I do believe that this will help in that way, and there are a lot of certain panel auditors. So we can do this.
So one
Also,
more question here is, just the last one. So Europe, I think Europe, it is all implemented, right? So the people who will be implementing, like consultants now on the second part, not the audit one, consultants, will they be able to get some market from Europe also? Because it's very similar, I think.
sorry, I just my concentration was somewhere else. Ravi also wanted to say something, and Ravi, you can unmute your mic and say, Ravi Kalyanji. Till so I could not hear Sandeep. Can you please repeat?
If I just one sentence, like it is on the lines of European this Data Protection Act. I think, if I'm not fully aware. So the people who will be doing it, implementing it in India, they can have market in Europe also. This is what just a generic comment.
Yes, yes. Actually, implementation and law is different for every place. Different for every place. For example, Sandeep ji, you have your data in. Suppose you are Indian citizen. You are Indian citizen and you have a data in some corporate or in some Indian website, and they leaks. So in our act does not provide this facility to file for yourself to you be get compensated. If you want to get yourself compensated, you have to file a civil suit. And suppose if you are filing for say for rupees fine of rupees damage of 10 lakhs, so you have to pay 4% first stamp duty. Comparing to the European GDPR, you have to you for individual also there is an option. If your data is leaked by the company, misused by the company, you will file directly to the data protection board, and that is they're called supervisory authority, and that you don't need to pay any, you don't need to file some this civil suit kind of thing, and you will be paid damage directly. You don't have to spend money to file this complaint. So this is the difference between DPDPA and GDPR. Rest
Thank you,
things are
Pradeep.
similar. Yeah. Ravi, Sandeep, you want to say something more?
No, no, thanks. Good difference you
So
provided.
Ravi, you want to say something? Please.
Yes, Paramveer. So I have
I,
this question. So there are a lot of IT companies with huge operational base in India. But irony is that their products and services are not available in India. They cater only to Europe and US regions. But these organizations have thousands of employees in India and lot of Indian employee data they process. So how does this act impact them?
uh, So they have to follow all these measures, definitely. And second thing, whether they are storing this data in India or not, and if they are not storing any of the data in India, all the data is suppose in this international entity, say, so for example, Europe. So whether they have filed whether they have done this legal documentation or not, right? So in this way they will be doing.
Okay. Okay, because it's almost obvious that they will never store anything in India. So huge organizations or mid-sized organizations, when they have like 1,000 to 2,000 employees in India, but see, but the services are not really for Indian organizations. They only cater some banks in US or financial institutions in US or something like that. They do store the Indian employee data in their uh, uh, place where they are actually created, like in India. I'm sorry, like in US or Europe or Ireland or some place. So in that case, this should have some impact, right, on them. They have to come up with additional procedures.
Yes, Ravi, and one more thing is there. Actually, why the Indian government actually was slow in implementing of this act, because they never wanted to lose business. Due to this fear, they do not wanted to create fear in the industries. So that
Right.
is was the reason they were very slow. And currently, they have not given the options to individuals like to file the case and all, so that that the courts should not be full of this litigation and all. But gradually they will increase this grip. So they are doing this slowly because a mistake can hamper the industry, but at the same time securing the citizens, giving them their fundamental rights is also their responsibility. So they have to balance. So
Right.
they have followed a cautious approach, for this. What my reason was why to present this, why to prepare this presentation was that my reason was, yes, for so many time, people were making fear. They are planning to create fear, and fear, and then take benefit of that out of that fear. So my was think that we can do this on a reasonable cost. I can help you if you want,
Yeah.
and it does not ask, it doesn't ask so much money or something. It requires some effort, but you will be ready, and no need of so much fear as people are creating in the market. That
Right.
was my reason to prepare this presentation. I have implemented for some organizations, and help you. This is not a very challenging thing, and so many tools, so many costly tools are there. So many. I have seen one high court judge. who has opened this posh office to create fear and do this documentation for this privacy acts and earn a huge money. So no need of kind of that thing. And again, we are working for our employers. We are not working
Right.
for consider to pay others, right?
Right.
Because we are
Right.
getting our salaries from our employers, and it's our moral responsibility to save our
Yes.
employers' interest.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
was my reason to create.
Great.
And also we will be increasing our value wherever we are working by talking in a pragmatic sense.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That was the reason. Any help you might require, whatever this you are there. And I'm also from a certain impaneled company. We are recently impaneled, and we can do help, in a very say very economical prices we can do for you, and do something consulting that. But that is another thing. I must refrain from anything from that. But wherever, if you require any help, you can please ask me, and I
Sure.
will be there,
Sure.
right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other question, any other one, please? It will be open, if it will be interactive. If anyone else, please. Dinesh ji, you are DPO, I see. If any more question from your side, sir, please.
Hey, sir, I was just listening to the entire session. It is really good to see, this knowledge coming up in Indian market.
I saw a profile that you are DPO. I thought that you will be asking some good critical questions, and I will come up later. Actually, I was thinking in
No, no,
that
no.
way.
No, I didn't wanted to, deviate from what you were trying to present. So I
Okay.
think internally in India, the most important thing that I feel today is the awareness that you are, focused at. And the role of data fiduciary, and because most of the organizations in India are data fiduciary. So I think this
Yes. Yes.
thing is something which needs to be emphasized on, and it should be made so clear that even a new joinee in a privacy domain, or information security domain, or a founder itself of small companies, they should understand, if they are fiduciary, these are 10 things I need to do. That's it. Because, and you rightly mentioned that there need not to be a fear mongering done on this domain, because that's where you make it dirty.
Yeah, I was everyone seeing open this thing, so I was wanted to, boss, no, nothing to fear, be ready, but be ready, be watchful, be dutiful. Whenever something, some government body asks, say we have done this thing, this is documentation, this is controls are in place. So that is a reasonable practice is there, then it's fine.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
and that you can do by yourself.
Yep.
So, okay, I will like, so let us, if there is no question, more question, then let us close this. And thanks for your time. And if there is anything else, please, my email address is there. So please ask, and then we will reply on that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Thank you.